everybody, good morning. This is Jean here for Jean's Block Party 2019, and I am on block number 22. We are over halfway there. We only have 20 blocks left to finish our block party. So block number 22, this week I'm using my bright reds and my bright whites, and this block here is block number 22, and I've used 3 fabrics in this block. 3 obviously contrasting fabrics for these units on the end here. But then what I wanted you to do, or whatever, this block here, which is almost 7 inches, we're just using one beautiful piece of fabric. I really loved this fabric here that I had in my fat quarters, or was this a layer cake? That was my layer cake. And I thought, oh, I really want to use that. I don't want to cut it up into smaller pieces. So if you have a beautiful focal fabric, if you have a beautiful floral or butterfly or something, maybe you can try to fussy cut it and make your lovely block. This block here, and then it's simple. This is a very simple block. We just cut our squares, cut them into triangles here, and then put these units together here. We have to be careful. Again, I show you the orientation of this for these 4 corner units here. Very simple. There's my back, or my seams have been pressed well and where they wanted to go, and then I have made sure, again, because you people who are working with lighter and darks, make sure you don't have any for me, red threads behind your white fabric, because you know, we want to keep checking that along the way as we're making our quilt in our sashing or however. So yeah, that's block number 22. Beautiful, showcase the beautiful piece of fabric you have for the middle. This was block number 21, as you saw. So we're sort of like making pictures today, this week. Like we're framing a beautiful piece of fabric, that one in the middle and that one. Next week, we are going to be doing our appliqued hearts and our pieced hearts. And so next week we're having, it'll be fun for the red and white people to have a lovely pieced heart and an appliqued heart, the red and the white. I will be using my burgundies and my tans next week. Again, I'm just doing that, alternating it, just to add a little bit of texture, you know. So I will have 40, what's half of 42? I don't know. I'll have half of them the tan and the maroon, and half of them the bright red and white, just to add some little bit of variation to my quilt. So next week, our appliqued heart, I want you to get just a small piece of the lightest weight interfacing. Very, very, very light interfacing. And then make sure your machine, I'll be using Malia's baby machine, her little brother, because it has a beautiful blanket stitch. But you can hand applique the applique, you can use a zigzag, you can even use a satin stitch, which is fine, but that's it sort of defeats the purpose of making a finished heart, a finished applique. But whatever. Well, I'll address that next week when we come to it. So that's our block party. That's this week, block 21 and 22, and I hope you are enjoying it. Send me your pictures to my website, and yeah, we'll have at it, and we will see you next week for our appliqued hearts 23 and 24. All right, see you later, folks. Bye. So block number 22 this week. I'm highlighting a fabric that you might want to use on this block with a little bit of a larger print. If you have a nice bold print, we've been cutting up little pieces of fabric, but this we don't have to. So fabric A in this block, what we want is one piece of fabric cut 5 3/4 inches. That's the line, the larger line right before 6 inches, 5 3/4 inch square for fabric A and for fabric B. Okay, now this is a 3 color block with 2 very big contrasts, and then a larger print if you want for fabric C, because we're not cutting fabric C. We're not cutting that one. This is it. This is it. Fabric C is cut 1 6 3/4 inch square. A nice large square to showcase your nice bold print if that's what you wish. So that's fabric C, 6 3/4 inch. Now, what we want to do with both fabric A and fabric B is we want to cut these. Is that in the frame? Yeah. We want to cut these on the diagonal 2 ways. So I just line it up on a line there, on my ruler, on my mat. And then I'm going to, remember, you're going to cut, you want your cutter on the diagonal. You want your ruler, just one thread inside. So your cutter, you're cutting on the diagonal. Diagonal to diagonal. And then if you shift them, and scratch them together, and then again, diagonal to diagonal. You want to cut these 2 ways. So you end up with 4 triangles for both fabric A and fabric B. Now fabric A, here as you can see, I'm using a stripe. I'm desperate to use my stripe, and I don't know if it's going to turn out. I don't know if it's going to look funny, but I'm going to use it anyway. So there's my fabric. The stripes are going to go different ways, but that's okay. Scratch that together. And then cut them again. And this is a simple block. So I can show you how we're going to put it together right now. So what we want to do is we want to set our pretty large piece on the, like a diamond. And then what we're going to do is, I'm just going to do this for the orientation. What we're going to do is we're going to start placing our blocks, our units, because they are a bit funky and you want to get this correct, onto our design board like this. And again, you can see it on my design board when it's not as when I'm on the purple. And then this one goes that way, and then this one goes this way, and then that one goes that way, and there is our block. There is our block. You'll be able to see it better. And that goes that way. That's okay. They're all yeah, they're fine. Yeah, they're fine. Let me just see. Oh no, maybe oh look, this stripe. So if I do that, there, that's a bit better. Like I planned it. That stripe's, oh no. How oh yeah. Yes. It doesn't make any difference, no. So these 2 stripes, if you're using stripe, these are going this way, this one and this way is going this way, and this one is going that way. That's okay. So there is our block ready to be sewn together. So now what you're wanting to do is you're going to get your pins and you're going to sew together. Take this over because the configuration is important here. You're going to be sewing together this unit here, okay? You're going to be sewing together these units. You want to pin where you're going to sew because you don't want to get confused. Scratch them together. So it's that seam, and then it's this seam. So I would pin them on your design board and then take them over to your machine because the work has already been done here, okay? So you're not going to get confused. Excuse me. Scratch them together. And then what I'm going to do is I have these units. I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch from the top down to the bottom on all of the units. 1/4 inch from the top down to the bottom on all of the units. So I'm going to do that now and I will be back. I've sewn together my units here and I'm going to take them off of my design board and I'm just going to show you, I've not ironed anything yet, what this block looks like. So pretty. Very simple block this week. Very, very simple block. Now, what are we going to do? We are going to take these units here. Very important, I think, to have your design board so you can construct them properly with this seam here. What we're going to do is we're going to set each seam, and then with the dark, when pulling the dark side up, you're just going to roll that right over up to the dark side. We're going to set each seam and press right up to the dark side. So press the seam and then roll it because it's on the bias. Here's this one. Roll that up. And then this one. Roll that one right up. Oh, that got a little tiny fold in it. We have to be very careful. And then over here. Now, just like we did last week when we had our square within a square, what I want you to do is I want you to take this over to your put it back on your design board with the right configurations. And we're going to be working with two sides. We're going to be working with two sides. So that we'll start out with these two sides. What I want you to do is I want you to match this up. Now you're going to have, remember, you're going to have these pieces hanging off. You're going to have these little triangles hanging off the edge. That's okay. That's okay, because that is what makes our 1/4 inch seam. So you're going to be starting, you're going to sew this a 1/4 inch on the top, a 1/4 inch right across with these little triangles hanging off. And you want pretty sides together. And then with this one, we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to pin it. I'm going to turn this one around. And you're going to pin that. And you're going to match it. That triangle's hanging off. And that triangle's hanging off. And I'm going to go over and I'm going to sew that. So I have stitched along here 1/4 inch, and I've kept those triangle bits hanging over. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set my seams, very important. And then either way, because it's light and dark, I'm just going to push this up gently, and I'm going to nudge, do you mind the frame? Yeah. I'm going to just nudge that bit right up there, just carefully, without skewing it. Just like we did with our square and a square. And then turn it around and nudge that right up there. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do this exact same thing. I'm going to put this one over here, and again you'll see our triangles are hanging off. I'm going to pin that. This will be our final seam. Easy, easy, easy block this week. Simple, super simple block. Oh, my phone. Hold up. Isn't that funny? Here I come. Oh, hold on, Ian. Hold up, Ian. So anyway, sorry, that's my husband. So then I'm going to bring this one over here. The triangles are hanging off. You can see the triangles hanging off. And I'm just going to pin that there. And I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam there, and then our block will be done. So ta-da! I have trimmed off my little dog ears, all of my things. I have pressed up each piece, and as you can see, those little triangles that were hanging off, that is made our perfect 1/4 inch. So that, and there's our back of my block, making sure that I have no red in my whites here, because it is bright red and white. I've pressed everything to outside, so my back looks as good as my front there. And it's measuring 9.5, and there is my 1/4 inch points right there.
So there is our lovely block. And again, this week we're sort of picture framing. There is block number 22. And let me get block number 21 here. Block number 21. There we go. We're sort of, like I say, doing picture frames this week. So with my bright white fabric. So this is block 21 and this is block number 22. Yeah, I think it's real pretty. And I was quite pleased with the way these stripes, just I couldn't make them go all the same way because they were cut differently, but they're nice and square on my block. And this is a perfect block for fussy cutting, a beautiful piece of larger print that you don't want to necessarily cut up. So there, showcasing fabrics this week, block 21 and 22. I hope you've enjoyed them, folks, and I will see you next week for blocks. Oh, next week is our hearts. I hope you have gotten 2 heart blocks. I hope you've gotten just a hunk of lightweight interfacing. That's all you need. And then we'll be doing an applique heart with some snowball corners. But that's for next week, our applique hearts, 23 and 24. So yeah, have at it. We will see you next week, folks. Okay, see ya. Bye.